one of the reasons I really love mule deer hunting is just like they can live in plain sight. They find a spot that they think has security, good exit routes, good feed. They'll be there, whether it's 4 miles back or it's 400 yards off of a road, like a main road. Yeah, they're cool. They're super, super cool animals. Just really love everything about it. Even though backpacking in can be miserable, I like that aspect of it too. Just be back here living with them. Opening morning here in Idaho for general deer season. And we're in an area that I've hunted for the last couple of years and I have never seen this many people. I think it's super important to have multiple plans when you're going on a trip. I had 2 different plans, and yesterday before season even started, they got upended because people are already in there. I decided not to pack in yesterday. I sat back and just glassed a bunch more country, and my wife Leah was with me, and she ended up finding a buck yesterday morning that looked really heavy. She said it was really framey, big body, and just tell you, like, he's in a spot where a big buck would be. Like, we're looking kind of a nasty hole. It's gonna be hard to get to. We're gonna have to backpack into it, and gonna be, I don't know, 2,500 foot elevation gain from the trailhead at least, and gonna be quite a few miles. So, but it's gonna be worth it if it's a big deer. So, just try to pick him up right now. This year, I'm going back to my roots of Western hunting and embarking on this hunt solo, doing all of the filming and hunting alone. Somewhat unintentionally, because my wife Leah has to go back to work this week, but I am looking forward to the challenges of being alone in the mountains. All I've really seen in the last little bit is there's a couple of does in there, but I know that there's bucks, so it's like, that's why I just keep pounding it. But I'm in a little bit of a dilemma, I guess, for an opening day dilemma. I'm looking at it right now from 1.5 miles plus. And so that's like a long ways. But the good thing about it is it kind of opens the country up from a distance. So you can see in multiple little crevices and cracks and things that if you were over there on the same ridge, it'd be really hard to see. Do I just sit back, keep watching it, get eyes on the big buck again, and make sure he's still in there? Or do I just pack up my stuff and I pack over there and I get on the same ridge, closer distance to make a play, but I'm not going to be able to see it quite as well as I can from back here. But back here, if I see a buck right now, I'm at least 3 hours from getting over there. So that's a dilemma, right? Trying to figure out exactly what to do. I'm gonna give it another hour, think on it a little bit, and then make a plan for this afternoon. I'm approaching where I want to start climbing, and it does not look very inviting. That's the only way in there. Try to get on those deer, so it's gonna hurt. But anyways, that's where we're at. Just about ready to start the big climb. Just taking a breather real quick. About a solid 1/8 of the way up, and it is kind of brutal. I'm looking at Onyx. Looks like we are 900 yards from where I dropped the pin to where I think I can camp. That's at about 7,700, and right now we are at 6,600. Gonna be a bit of a grind. Alright, it's like 10 to 5. The sun goes down at 7. It gets dark at about 7:30, so we got some time. Took me a while. It really sucked. Like, really sucked. So, from the glassing point I want to be on, I'm probably 200 yards below it. I'm just gonna set the tent up, try to get it adjusted so it keeps the rain off me, and at least halfway get things set for my sleeping bag. Lighten our pack a little bit and glide to the top. Do some glassing and see if we can find that buck tonight. What a morning, really. It snowed a little bit last night, and like just enough to stick. It's gonna burn off pretty quick, but we've got clouds laying low in the valley, we got clouds up high in the peaks, and it's kind of cool. I'm looking at where we saw the buck, and I haven't picked him up yet. The sun is just starting to come popping up, so I'm just gonna sit here for a second. I'm gonna glass all this in front of me, and then I'm just gonna keep working up the ridge.
I spent the morning working higher on the mountain, glassing what I could in between the fog rolling in and out. Some elk and a few browsing does were all I could turn up before the snow moved back in and invited me back to camp for a fire to dry all my gear out.
With this weather system moving through, I mean, the sun pops out and everything kind of clears up. It could get really good. So I'm basically gonna give it, it's Wednesday, I'm gonna give it Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and then I am gonna pack out and check out another spot that I've been wanting to look into, and yeah, just kind of make a game plan from there. This is when hunting solo can really kick your ass, because this is about the time when the doubts come in, because I'm like, you know, if I was back at base camp, I could see a lot more country, maybe find some deer that are closer, just like all kinds of things tap into your brain. It's really hard sometimes when you don't have a hunting partner to lean on, and you know, you're kind of just, you're talking to each other and you're glassing and you're BSing, or you just have somebody else there with you, it's a little security blanket, and you know, they're leaning on you to, you know, sit tight and glass and do the best you can, and you're leaning on them to do the same thing. So the question about should we leave really rarely comes up, but when you're by yourself, it comes up all the time. It's a constant battle, really, to make yourself stay. All right, all ready to rip. My fire is cold to the touch, and we were ready to leave. So hopefully it won't take us too long to get down to the vehicle, and we can try something different. There does. I don't know why I thought that was a buck, but it's a doe to fawn at least. Just heading back to camp. I did decide last night we're bouncing areas. Leah gets off work today and she's gonna come up and hunt as well. So we're just gonna completely move camp, move areas, and we're gonna give a go at another spot. Just yeah, I don't know, it's just time for change, you know? So that's the plan. Those bucks were out pretty early, which is interesting to me. They were out at like 3, right out in the wide open. But some people might be like, wow, you're crazy, you passed that deer up. But like, I look at what I have on the wall, and I just know that I'm never gonna get any better than that if I shoot a buck like that, and that's a nice buck. But, you know, part of this for me is the challenge and just trying to find a big deer. And also just like, a truly big deer probably isn't gonna be doing that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So he might have a buddy with him sitting in the trees waiting for it to get dark. And he's gonna pop out at last light. So there's a ton of country. Only our first day in here, so I'm just gonna let it play out. Alright, it's morning day 6. Back up on the ridge looking for the bucks that I found last night. And I saw one go over the ridge onto the other side, which makes sense. That's the shaded side. They're probably going to feed around over there more, trying to develop a game plan of exactly how to attack it and get over there. It's pretty remote, actually. There's a lot of trails around this area, and it's kind of in a more remote spot, but it looks rugged. This morning I was thinking about something. I'm on day 6 of this hunt, and I could keep going for a long time. Like, I feel really good. And I think most of that has to do with just mental attitude and like not putting so much pressure on myself to fill a tag. I think that happens sometimes, and it's hard not to let it happen because, you know, this is a lot of folks is like, this is their one trip a year, and the goal is to fill a deer tag, but they put so much pressure on themselves that it's not fun. It's just like, you know, work, and you don't really get to enjoy it. And I really feel like the last, 5 days, I've enjoyed it, even when it was miserable, when it was snowing and cold. It was fun just having the experience, and like it should be fun. And when it's not, it's easier to talk yourself into going home, and just saying like, oh, I'm probably not gonna find a deer anyways, like I'm just gonna go home. So I think it's good to go in with like kind of loose expectations and just plan on enjoying the process, and not so much about filling the tag or not. If you just stick it out, persistence, and the success will come for sure. So we glassed up a buck in a small section of burn. Looks nasty, deep, dark. But I'm personally gonna take a pass on the buck, but I think Leah wants to shoot it, so we're gonna go make a play.
It's Leah's first morning back, and I'm quickly reminded of how beneficial a good hunting partner is for another set of eyes on the country. I'd like to take credit for glassing up this buck in the timber, and even though she did give me the option, we're of the thought that spotter gets first shot.
Made it down to the bottom. And we don't have far to go, and I think we'll be able to see him. Watched him lay down. 2 miles later, sweating our butts off, and then all of a sudden just a flicker of antlers, and it was game on. Heck yeah.
Took us like an hour or so to get him broke down, and then we just have him in game bags. All the quarters are in game bags and sitting in the shade, trying to get it cooled off as quick as we can, but we're done and gonna load up and head out.
back in the spot where we saw the wolves yesterday morning. Picked up one small buck so far, and yeah, that's about it though. Well, a nice bull too, but no other deer. So just keep glassing. My time is running real short here on what I have left to hunt, so I'll just keep persisting and try to dig up a good buck. But I've said it before, there's a shot. I said it before, and I'll just say it again. Not having a ton of pressure to fill a tag this year has just been like a total game changer in how enjoyable the experience has been. It's like really fun. I really don't want it to end, but it's getting close to the end. So all we can do is just keep hitting the glass hard, looking in different spots, looking in kind of obscure spots you wouldn't think a buck would live because they probably live there, and try to dig one up.
I've come to realize that every year comes with a new set of expectations and goals for myself and my deer hunting. This year I was focused on finding a buck that made me jump out of my seat, a buck that was truly next level to me. In doing so, I knew my probability of filling a tag went down, but it actually made the whole experience more enjoyable. Being able to watch a buck in his element, knowing I could have gotten a shot but chose not to, was just as fulfilling to me as pulling the trigger. For me, every year becomes more about being where I want to be, being who I want to be with, and doing something that we love together. I left the mountain without punching my tag, but I have no qualms about it. I'll be back next year with a new set of expectations, ready to enjoy every minute.